Right now, the global balance of power is shifting faster than at any time since the Cold War. The old rules that once defined stability are eroding, replaced by a new era driven not just by diplomacy, but by rapid breakthroughs in military technology. From the Arctic to Eastern Europe, advanced strategic systems are reshaping deterrence and forcing major powers to rethink their defense posture. This is no longer a slow, drawn-out struggle. It's a high-stakes race for technological superiority, where speed, innovation, and strategic endurance define who leads and who falls behind. Subscribe for clear, in-depth analysis on the forces redefining global power. At the heart of this shift is President Vladimir Putin's unveiling of the Four Aces, a quartet of strategic weapons designed to ensure Russia's strategic balance for the remainder of the 21st century. These systems represent a departure from conventional ballistic logic, offering capabilities that Moscow claims are entirely immune to existing Western defense shields. Leading the charge is the 9M730 Burevestnik, NATO SSC-X9 Skyfall, perhaps the most radical missile ever developed. Powered by a miniature nuclear reactor, the Burevestnik possesses what is essentially a limitless range. On October 21, 2025, General Valery Gerasimov reported a successful test flight in which the missile traveled 14,000 kilometers over 15 hours. By flying at extremely low altitudes, between 25 and 100 meters, and constantly shifting its trajectory at speeds up to 2,300 km/h, the Burevestnik can bypass radar nets to strike from any direction, rendering traditional intercontinental defense routes obsolete. Beneath the waves, the 2M39 Poseidon, NATO Canyon, has earned the moniker Doomsday Torpedo. This autonomous underwater vehicle is 20 meters long and weighs 100 tons, capable of diving to depths of 1,000 meters, well beyond the reach of conventional interceptors. Powered by a nuclear reactor that starts 200 times faster than those on standard submarines, the Poseidon can travel intercontinental distances at speeds exceeding 110 km/h. In October 2025, the launch of the specialized nuclear submarine Khabarovsk signaled that this weapon is nearing full operational status, providing Russia with a terrifying second strike capability. The third ace, the Oreshnik, has already seen combat. Revealed in November 2024, this hypersonic intermediate-range missile travels at Mach 10, over 12,000 km/h. In a retaliatory strike against the Yuzhmash facility in Ukraine, the Oreshnik demonstrated its devastating kinetic power, which Putin equated to a nuclear strike in terms of total destruction. Its speed is its greatest asset. From launch sites in Russia, it can reach Poland in 11 minutes, Germany in 15 minutes, and NATO headquarters in Brussels in just 17 minutes. Finally, the RS-28 Sarmat, NATO SSX-30 Satan II, stands as the largest combat missile in history. At 35.5 meters tall, roughly a 14-story building, the Sarmat can carry 10 heavy nuclear warheads across 18,000 kilometers. Its ability to fly over the South Pole allows it to bypass U.S. missile defenses, which are primarily oriented toward the north. Scheduled for full combat duty in 2026, the Sarmat serves as the ultimate deterrent. While the Four Aces define the strategic horizon, the tactical reality in Ukraine is being shaped by high-tech industrialization. Russia has successfully converted old, unguided dumb bombs into precision-guided threats using UMPK, Universal Glide and Correction Module kits. By 2025, these kits were upgraded to the UMPK PD version, extending glide ranges to 80 kilometers. More recently, the integration of small turbojet engines has pushed these glide bombs into the realm of cruise missiles, with a range of at least 150 kilometers, allowing Russian jets to strike deep behind enemy lines from the safety of their own airspace. The skies are also thick with Garan UAVs. The Alabuga facility in Tatarstan, now the world's largest UAV factory, is mass-producing these drones with lethal efficiency. New variants include the jet-powered Garan 3 for high-speed penetration, and even anti-aircraft versions equipped with self-guided missiles to target intercepting planes and helicopters. This was tragically demonstrated when a Garan 3 reportedly used an R-60 air-to-air missile to down a Ukrainian Mi-24 helicopter in late 2025. On the other side, Ukraine has not been idle. The domestic Flamingo long-range missile, FP5, has begun striking Russian ammunition depots, such as the massive facility near Volgograd, demonstrating a 3,000-kilometer range and advanced terrain-matching TERCOM technology. However, the cost of Western hardware remains high. A $6 million French-made Caesar self-propelled gun was recently filmed being incinerated by a Russian Lancet drone, highlighting the vulnerability of expensive conventional assets in a drone-dominated theater. Amidst the smoke of battle, a new diplomatic channel is opening. President Volodymyr Zelensky has signaled a significant shift in his approach to ending the war, largely influenced by the return of Donald Trump to the White House. Zelensky has expressed a willingness to meet Putin anywhere outside of Moscow and has even floated the possibility of a national referendum on a peace plan that might involve territorial concessions, such as withdrawing from the Donbass in exchange for ironclad security guarantees. Perhaps the most explosive revelation is the Demichev package, a reported $12 trillion economic cooperation proposal from Russia to the United States. According to Ukrainian intelligence, this massive deal aims to normalize economic ties between Washington and Moscow, potentially as part of a broader post-war settlement. Zelensky has warned that any G-package deal involving Ukraine must include Kyiv's participation, labeling decisions made without Ukraine as a red line. The Trump administration's influence is also felt in the reduction of direct military aid. In 2025, U.S. military aid to Ukraine reportedly plummeted by 99% as the administration shifted toward a Buy American model through NATO partners, forcing European nations like the UK and Germany to shoulder the financial burden. The ripple effects of this new era are felt globally. In the north, the U.S. push to gain more control over Greenland has set off alarm bells in Moscow. Russian analysts fear that a U.S. military upgrade in Greenland could bottleneck the Russian Northern Fleet's access to the Atlantic, complicating the deployment of their strategic submarines. Consequently, Russia is doubling down on its Arctic infrastructure, treating the region as a primary theater of defense. In the Caribbean, Cuba has become a flashpoint for a new kind of energy war. Facing a crippling fuel crisis exacerbated by U.S. sanctions and the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, Havana has turned to old allies. Both Russia and Mexico have defied U.S. pressure to send humanitarian aid and oil, while China has pledged its utmost support to the island. Trump has responded with threats of high tariffs on any nation supplying oil to Cuba, reviving Cold War-era tensions in the Western Hemisphere. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, the Israel-Iran rivalry has reached a fever pitch. Iranian state media recently broadcast an assassination warning against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other top officials, while Trump has warned Tehran of very serious consequences if a new nuclear deal isn't reached. The U.S. has reportedly moved a massive fleet, including the USS Abraham Lincoln, toward the Gulf as a show of force. Further east, the Korean peninsula remains a tinderbox. Kim Yo-jong, the sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, recently issued a terrible warning to South Korea over drone incursions, stating that any further violation of North Korean airspace would lead to an immediate and catastrophic response. The deployment of next-generation systems like the S-500 signals more than a tactical upgrade. It reflects a broader shift in strategic thinking. The conversation is no longer centered on sheer numbers, but on capability, speed, and technological reach. Deterrence in the mid-2020s is increasingly defined by innovation rather than inventory. We are entering a multipolar era where technological momentum is moving faster than diplomacy can adapt. From trillion-dollar economic leverage to breakthroughs in high-speed defense systems, influence today is measured at the extremes. As negotiations continue between Washington, Moscow, and Kyiv, one reality is becoming clear. The global security framework is being rewritten in real time. The question is, are world leaders prepared for this new strategic landscape, and are we? Subscribe for sharp, in-depth analysis on the forces reshaping global power and join the conversation below.